Hi there, this is a little practice that you can do if you've been traveling or just hanging out or you just want a little bit of downtime. You can use it any time. This is kind of my go-to yin practice if I'm just feeling a bit creaky, especially if I've been sitting quite a lot or driving quite a lot. So this might be a useful thing to do. So we'll get started. In terms of props, this is really, you can have minimal props for this. If you've got anything like a blanket or a couple of blankets or even just a couple of bath towels, then that's pretty useful. And if you do have a cushion, that'd be really good. What I've got for myself here, I do have a bolster, but I might not use it. I've got a blanket right here and a spare blanket, love a blanket. Also, I've got a couple of bricks, but this is just more for demo purposes, really. But anyway, I'll just pop this to the side for now. So we'll just do a tiny bit of centering and a little bit of movement before we get into the first yin posture. Nestle. I've made myself a wee nest here. So I've got my yoga mat on the floor and I put my blanket on top. So I've got my little nest under my little tree. So let's just take a little moment. We can arrive on the mat. So whether you've had a busier day or a quieter day or whatever you've been doing, just give yourself this gift of coming into the here and now. And this practice is really intended to help cultivate a little bit of inner listening, a little bit of a sacred pause, to help create some presence. A full inhale and maybe a gentle sigh. Just give yourself a gift of acknowledging that you are here. In your mind, you might want to say the words, I am here. Acknowledging how you feel. Give yourself a scan. Notice the physical space, the touch points in the body where the seat is connecting with your support. Notice how the body is feeling right now. Maybe a hand to the chest. How is the breath? How is your mood? How is your energy? And perhaps acknowledging any intention that you might have for your practice. When you're ready, you can release the hand if it's on your heart. And before we go into the first yin posture, let's just come to the hands and knees. We'll do a tiny bit of work on the hands and knees. So move the spine a little bit. Okay, so here we have hands under shoulders, knees under the hips. And from here, roll the heart forward, lift the chest, the head, the sitting bones, so you're arching the spine. And as you exhale, doming the back, pressing into the hands, tailbone heavy and round. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, down. Twice more. Following your breath. Let's come back to a neutral position with your spine, and I just need to give my wrists a little circle. You might want to do the same. And then from here we'll spiral. So we'll move the left hand in a little bit towards the right one. Inhale where you are, And then turning to your right as you exhale. And you can wrap the right arm behind your back, or you might prefer to reach up to the sky with the arm. Okay, let's just keep going. So inhale, hand down, and exhale, turning to your left. Let's just go once more each side. Inhale, exhale and open. Inhale, hand down. And exhale to the left. Come on back here. And then if it works okay for your knees, come on back, child's pose. You can let the knees come a little wider. Maybe you've walked the hands forward a little bit. And allow the forehead to move down towards the mat. Smooth inhale, smooth exhale. Maybe a sigh. So just tapping into the side body. We're going to come onto the pads of the fingers. Lift your head, look forward a little. And then walk your hands over to the right side. So what we're aiming for here is that space along the left side of the torso. So I like to bend my right elbow and kind of brace myself with that right hand. And then I'll walk the left hand further forward. Forehead can soften towards the right knee. And feel a little heavy down through your left sitting bone. If it's too much to kneel, okay, you can do the same thing with the hips stacked. Okay, you might have to choose a different arrangement for the arms, but you can still get the same effect in the side body. Another breath. Okay, let's start to walk over to the second side. So now holding or supporting, if you like, there with the left hand, the right hand creeping over a diagonal line. Full inhale. Heavy as you exhale through the right sitting bone. Just another breath. And then come back to center, please. Just take a pause in the center. And then when you're ready, just keeping these transitions very, very quiet. So the movements between each posture is all part of the practice. Let's undo the legs and let's find a seat. So remember, you're welcome to keep any layers on. You might even be in your pajamas. Okay, so the first yin posture we'll do, I'm just going to turn it at an angle, okay? So we'll take a butterfly pose. So you'll have the soles of the feet together and the knees out to the side. And the reason I fetched these bricks is what you might want to do. If you've got bricks, you could use bricks. But you might find you want to support under the knees with cushions. Okay, that can be really useful. The plan is to come into a forward fold shape, okay? If you practice with me in person or in the past, you might know that I quite like wrapping up the feet. Take your blanket, wrap it over the feet, and just kind of snug them up a little bit. And then the plan is to then fold forward, okay? So you can bring some cushions or a bolster and place it here, yeah, on top of the feet. You might find you want to use a brick or something under the forehead. So when you're ready, start to walk the hands forward. Take a little lift of your chest on the inhale. And exhale, a gentle softening forward. So allow yourself to close inwards. Allow the eyes to close. So I'll be keeping an eye on the time here. I'll be here for about 3 minutes. Remember, if the posture feels too edgy or you start to experience any pins and needles, then that is your moment to move out of the posture and just do a little bit less. Maybe take some movement, build up more height with the props, and just do a little bit less. And as you gently follow the breath, just keeping that very delicate curiosity, very gentle curiosity. How the body feels, how the breath is moving. And where is the mind? Every time the mind drifts, bring yourself back. Be aware of where the mind has gone. We're just into the final minute here. Perhaps a little sigh on the exhale. So inhale where you are. Exhale completely. And slowly, slowly start to bring yourself up. So keeping that very tortoise-like transition. Just mindfully moving your bits to the side. You can use the hands to help guide the legs together. Now we all like different things when we come out of postures. You might want to hug your knees in. For me, I just like to get my legs straight and have a little lean back in my hands. Maybe gently move the legs a little bit. And we've got that other option here of taking that windscreen wiper action with the legs. Okay, just gently rocking the legs from side to side. Now I wanted to invite you to consider two options for the next posture. So ideally what I'd like to suggest here is to have anything that's going to open the front, and primarily those hip flexors as well, especially if you've been sitting quite a lot. So I was thinking Sphinx pose, okay, which I'll demonstrate in a second. There's also saddle. If saddle is like one of your favorite things to do, then saddle's an option. Let me do Sphinx first and then you can choose. So for Sphinx, you're on the belly. The legs are just gently extended, and see how it feels to have your toes turning inwards and your heels flopping out, okay? And for here, for Sphinx, you could be down here, that's cool. You might be on the forearms and elbows. And the main thing here is to create, well, there's various areas actually. You've got the openness in the front body. You've got the compression in the back of the body, and also the openness through the hip flexors and the fronts of the thighs. Okay, so here we could be right there. If you prefer, then I'll quickly come into saddle. Saddle, it's a bit like a Supta Virasana. You'll sit back onto the heels there. The knees can go quite wide, and then you'll take yourself back. So pretty edgy. You can always bring a bolster or cushions underneath the back of the body. Okay, so be pretty strong through here. So just be super mindful. Maybe a little block under your head. So we'll take just 3 minutes wherever you are. So you could be in that Sphinx on the belly, maybe the saddle. And I'm going to quickly do a saddle here on the bolster, in case you're curious. Makes it a little bit less edgy. I think I might stay here. You can let the eyes close. And just sending that steady breath, gently breathing in whatever shape you're in, and gently breathing out. And to help cultivate a little more presence, see how it feels to use the breath mantra. Breathing in here. Breathing out now. As you inhale, you can mentally repeat the word here. As you exhale, mentally repeat the word now. Remember, you're in charge. You can come out sooner if you want, okay? Just keep tuning in. Just last minute here. Maybe a sigh on the exhale. Just another 2 breaths. So if you're in the Sphinx pose, just come and lie on the front of the body and just take some movement, wriggle around, yeah, sway the hips about, give yourself what you need, and then find your way back to child's pose whenever you want, okay? If you've been back here in the saddle, then either catch the edges of your mat, okay, with your hands. I like to either hold my feet and then I'll use my exhale and nudge myself up here, navel to spine, just to help support. And maybe you want to come into a little child's pose for a moment. You might just prefer to come off your legs and get the legs straight. So I'll just let you find a way. Take your time. And you might want to roll through a little bit of cat-cow, okay? So I'm just going to clear the decks here a little bit. So perhaps you've come back to a child's pose and you've rolled through. Inhale to lift the chest and exhale to gently round. And then in a moment, take your time. We'll come and lie on the front of the body again. You just might want to stay seated or prop yourself up on your elbows just to see the next posture. So this is going to be a posture that gets called broken wing. Now I like a little support from my head here. So what I tend to do is I'll just take my blanket and fold it up pretty firmly. Okay, so a slightly trickier one to do if you're short in space. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. So you're going to lie on your belly and extending I'm taking my right arm out to the side here, so the palm is facing down to start. Then if you want, either keep that arm in that orientation, or you can turn the arm so the palm turns up to face the sky. So you would turn the thumb to point towards the floor and then keep flipping so the arm turns onto the, internally rotates. And then from here you'll be rolling onto the right side, so that right arm is extending back behind you. I feel like I want an extra something under my head today. Get my second blanket involved here. Oh, that's better, right. And then with my legs, I'm going to stand on my left foot. My right leg is just going to bend, but you might find a different orientation for your legs, and that's cool, yeah? And here we are. Now, find your way into that, okay? It's just going to be about 10 breaths here. You can keep your left hand supporting you on the floor. You might prefer to let your left arm reach up towards the ceiling. Or it might be nicer for you to wrap the arm behind your back, okay? Try and avoid thrusting your chin into the air. Okay, let your chin be a little bit dropped so the back of the neck is long. So let's just be here, be with the breath. I'm deliberately trying to stay quiet. It's a bit tricky for me to do. Mainly because this time of year there's a lot of sensory overload, or there can be a lot of overload. So let's just see how quiet I can stay. Every time the mind wanders, catch the next wave of your next breath. Just another 2 breaths. No rush. Okay, take your time. Slow, 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 slow transition. Come to lie on the belly. I have to move really slowly out of this. Now, I'm not going to lie properly on my belly in case I squish my microphone, but feel free, just make a little rest for your head, one hand on top of the other. And if you'd like to go back to a child's pose before you do the second side, then please do. It'd be quite intense coming out of that shape. So for the second side, I'm just going to turn myself around because I've got a wall here, so I've got some space if I take my arm out. Okay. So when you're ready, it'll be the second side. So for me, in my case here, I'm taking my left arm out, I'm flipping the arm, and I'm going to roll onto my left side. So really noticing the weight sinking down into the earth. Find a space for that right arm. Maybe it's wrapped, maybe it's raised. The side is a little bit stronger than the other side. Just another 3 breaths. Take your time. When you're ready, let's just unwind. And then come to lie on the front of the body. And there's no rush, but you can gently press yourself back. And either rolling through some cat-cow, or you can come right back to a child's pose. Sometimes it's nicer to move between these postures. Sometimes, some days, it's just nicer to be a little more still. Okay. Please take your time. Just gently find your way back to kneeling. Then we can come to sitting. So for the final posture, it's going to be a supine twist, okay? So you're going to be lying down. So what I'm going to do for this, I'm going to bring my blanket under my head. I'm also going to have my brick, which my legs are going to rest on, because I just find it's just way too intense to get my legs all the way to the floor at the moment. So see how that goes for you. You can stack up some cushions if you like. So it'll be about 2 minutes on each side in this twist. Before you go to the side, or before you lift your feet, just please lift your hips a little bit off the mat. Shift your pelvis completely to the left, okay? Feet will lift, and then the legs will then come over to the right. Now you might find it's in your practice to cross the left leg on top of the right one, okay, and take them over, or you might be happier keeping them together. When we're in the season of winter and we're nourishing the element of water, it's mainly more about the kidneys, okay? So for kidney chi, the knees can be about hip height, okay? And that would be great. You might hear the rain, it's getting a bit rainy out there. So anyway, hopefully it's not messing with my sound. So let's find some comfort for the arms. So perhaps that right hand is resting on the left knee, and then the left arm is a bit sort of cactusified, resting out to the side. Or you might be happier in like a cross shape with the arms, okay? So we're going to be here for 2 minutes. As you exhale, observing what areas you feel you can just soften a little bit more. Breathing in here. Breathing out now. where you are. And then when you're ready, let's exhale back to center. Take a pause in the center, realign the pelvis. You might want to give your legs a little extra hug in. Okay, second side. Shifting the hips a little bit to the right side. Maybe you cross the legs, maybe you've not. And the legs will then go to the left. Just allowing the shape of the posture, gravity, and your breath to do the work. Rise and the fall of the breath. So inhale where you are, and exhale, let's gently move back to center. Realign your pelvis, and let's just gently hug the knees in. We can take a few rounds of Alpanasana. So for that, we have the hands over the knees. Inhale, knees away, elbows lengthen. Exhale, hug the knees in, and how about let's flex the feet. Middle back spreading into the floor. Let's do that twice more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And hug. Perhaps forehead to knees. Roll about. And then we can take Shavasana just for a moment. Just giving ourselves this gift of stretching out on the floor. Or if it's nicer for your lower back, then please bend the knees, okay? Have the feet flat on the floor. As you exhale, softening the backs of your shoulders down, jawbone soft, easy and soft. Now, if you want to stay here for longer in Shavasana, then please do. If you want to, you can have a big old stretch. Maybe hug the knees in. And you can roll over to one side before finding your way back up to sitting. Just take a pause right here. Completing our practice, maybe the hands coming together into Anjali Mudra at the heart. And we can seal this practice with one Om together. Exhaling completely. Inhale. Bringing the thumbs to the eyebrow center, indicating our desire for a clear and calm mind. Fingers to lips, indicating our desire for clear and kind communication. Hands back to the heart, indicating our desire for kind and loving intention. Thank you so much. So thank you so much for taking this time for your practice. Maybe you're with some family, with some friends, and you've done a little bit together. Maybe you're cozy and wrapped up on your own in a quiet space. So wherever you are, sending you lots of love and thank you so much for your practice.